Alright, so we're going to go ahead and walk through our trigger area here, and we're going to go ahead and do that. And there is our reminder that we did. We're going to go ahead and click on reminders here, and boom, there's our sketchbook hammer. If we hit E, we can see it says hammer. Now we can start adding a whole bunch of cool stuff in this. Start giving the player quests that they need to get done. Hey guys, it's Techo Freak here, and welcome to episode 34 of my custom story tutorial for Amnesia Rebirth. And today we're going to be talking about reminders. Some people also call them Momentos, but essentially it's the questing system in the game. So when you get an idea and you want to take that idea and put it in like a sketchbook for the player to remember, not the actual sketchbook, but like the reminders tab in the player's inventory. That way the player knows what their objective is at the moment. That's what we're going to be talking about today. I feel like it goes by a lot of names. People say Momentos. The tab is called Reminders. It's called Sketchbook inside of the script, but then it's also called Ideas in the config. So there's a lot of names for it. I know it's kind of weird, kind of confusing, but essentially it's the questing system. Player comes up with an idea, he writes it down in his reminders tab in his inventory, and then from there he goes, and when he does it, it gets checked off in his reminders tab as it's complete, and it helps kind of like guide the player into what they should be doing for your custom story. So that's what we'll be talking about. So before we go on, just want to bring this up again. I do have a Discord. It's linked in every video. It will be linked in this one too. We got a few of you guys on here. Been pretty fun. You guys asking a bunch of fun questions. Been a bunch of good questions. Been helping you guys out. So I've been enjoying hearing about your custom stories. So if you're not already in Discord, I encourage you guys to hop on. We're building a nice community here. A lot of you guys have a lot of cool things going on. I love seeing all your works, on your custom stories. So definitely hop on here. And if you need help with your own one, come on here. I'll help you out, or anybody in the community who can help you out. So make sure you hop on that if you're not already on there. And also, while I'm at it, I also apologize for the lack of uploads in the last few weeks. I haven't been feeling too well recently, and I've also had like a lot of personal and work-related reasons as for why I'm not uploading so often. I think it'll still be like that for about another couple of weeks, but I'm hoping to get back on track. But with all that said, let's go ahead and get started. It was a pretty long intro. So it's actually fairly simple how we do this. But there's a lot of setup for it. But once you set it up for the first time, it's easier to do it going forward. It's a lot like the other stuff that we've worked on with some of with that involving us having to copy config files into our config folder. But that'll make sense in a moment. So the way I want to do this first is kind of show you guys how we would use the original game's reminders, and kind of show you how that works. Then we're going to take that and we're going to implement our own custom reminders and stuff, and show you guys how you can get your own ones in there. So let's go ahead and get started. First thing we want to do is we want to go ahead and go into our root directory of our Rebirth folder here. So the root directory here, and we want to go into the config folder right here. And what we're going to do is we're going to copy the config from the original game, specifically the one that's called player ideas, this one right here. So that should make sense. The ideas that the player has, this is it right here. So we're going to go ahead and hit copy on this, and we're going to go ahead and go to our own custom story now. So we're going to go mods, the wake, and we're going to go into our own config folder here. And we're going to paste it right in here with the rest of the stuff that we have going on in here. And then we're going to go ahead and open it up in our CodeLight application, just so we have it in here to read and stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and right click on here, and I'm going to do import files from directory, and then we're going to go ahead and check on the config here, and this is just going to research again for any files that we don't have mapped to our project right here. So and we also got to make sure that .cfg is here, star.cfg, Again, if you followed up with my setup, you should have this all normal, but if you don't, make sure you do that. So I'm going to go ahead and hit OK there. And then we're going to go ahead and go under config, and there's our player ideas.cfg file. And this is pretty much what it should look like. And this has all the ones from the original game. If you played the original game, you might recognize some of these, like find sulfur, find saltpeter, find charcoal. These are like kind of like missions that you get in the game to do. And this is pretty much where they get called from when you call them from your script file and stuff. And we're actually going to call a few of these just to show you guys how it looks like when we call it. So we have it copied to our config folder now. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and run a few commands to test it out, and then launch up our game and check it out and see what it looks like. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and put a few things in here. I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste it here. We have a trigger area. If I open up our level editor here, we have a trigger area right here at the start. This is what we'll be using to test, but for those that don't have one or haven't seen a video on this, I'll just quickly go through it. We have a trigger area here named trigger 1. We have a collide callback, so that when the player interacts with this trigger area here, we call a function from our script file called onCollide player trigger 1, and that is right here in our script file, onCollide player trigger 1, and what we do pretty much is we check the all state. If all state is equal to 1, it means that the player just entered the trigger area and we want to do some stuff. So that's what we do in here, and we return false so that once we run this, we don't run it again. We only run it once. And if it's anything else, we're just going to return false because we don't really care about whether he leaves the area or anything like that. We only care about it if he's entering the area at the moment. So what we're gonna work in here, and what we're gonna do is right underneath here, I'm gonna paste all this stuff here, and we'll write it out properly when we do our own custom reminder. But we're gonna go ahead and just kind of space these out here, get them kind of organized here. But it's pretty much sketchbook underscore add idea, and then you just specify the name that you see in the player ideas.cfg. So for example, find sulfur. It's going to go ahead and call this, and it's going to call this, and it's going to get like the image and the size and all this stuff. So with that, we can go ahead and start up a game and check it out, see what it looks like. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, so here we are in our level. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and cross this barrier here. And when we cross it, you should hear like the sketching noise. And then what will happen is we will have a new reminders tab. So we don't have a tab here, you see, because we don't have no reminders at the moment. So let's go ahead and walk through. And there you can see the icon right here for that a reminder was added. And you can see right here we have a new tab called reminders. And we added 5 different things. And those are the ones that I pasted in. The find sulfur, the find sulfur location, the saltpeter, the smash gate, and the get radio. Those are just 5 random ones, obviously no particular order, but there they all are. They're all drawn up here. Yeah, so we can also toggle text on these if we hit E. Some have text, some don't. These specific objects are things that you have to get, so it kind of toggles text for you, shows you text for them. So yeah, that's pretty much how we use it. Use the original game one, but of course we want to use our own one. So let's go ahead and go back and let's work on doing that now. Alright, so here we are back at our CodeLight application here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and clear this stuff here. We're going to add it again in a moment. So we'll go ahead and clear that. And we're going to put our own one when we get to our own one. Let's go ahead and go to the root directory of our custom story folder. So here's the root directory of our custom story. I actually have 2 images already here. Find Hammer and Find Hammer Complete. So it's 2 images. And I'll go ahead and open them to show you what it is. So I just took some random stock photo of a hammer, and I just used GIMP to kind of like make it look a bit like a sketchbook drawing. And then I did another version with a check, because every single one of them have like a check version that's just sketched out, and a version with a check for when you do complete the task. So this is the same version with a check. Yeah, that's pretty much it. If you guys are interested in knowing how I did the sketch hammer thing, do let me know in the comments. But you could probably look that up online too. Just search up how to like make a image look like a sketch in GIMP, and you should find something on the internet. But if anything, you can, if you guys want me to do a video on it, I definitely could, as a bonus video or something like that. But yeah, those are images that we want. Those are the ones we're going to put inside of that reminders tab. Let's go ahead and get going on that now. So what I want to do first is we got to create a folder here. So if we go in the root directory of Amnesia, there's a folder called graphics. This kind of holds all the pictures inside of those inventory tabs. I've shown it off before with the inventory when we talked about inventory. But if we go to like sketchbook and then we go to sketchbook ideas, you'll see these are all the like ideas that are in the game, and I believe there's more than that too, or is it? Or it's not sketchbook ideas, is it? Is sketchbook ideas? It is. Let me double check. Sketchbooks. Yeah, sketchbook ideas. It might have some other spots for it too. Yeah, here's the smash gates. I think they have the images for the other stuff somewhere else. Somewhere else here, but yeah, that's pretty much it. They have it in here, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna pretty much do the same thing, and we're gonna create a graphics folder here in our own custom story folder. So we're gonna go ahead and go mods, the wake, and we're gonna go ahead and create a new folder here. We're gonna call it graphics, and we're gonna call it the same way it pretty much appears as in the root directory of Amnesia. So we're going to say graphics. Of course, this could be named whatever you want, but we're just going to stick to like the same naming convention as the developers. So we're going to go ahead and do another folder in here. We're going to call it sketchbook, and then we'll go ahead and do another folder here again and do sketchbook ideas. So again, we're just following with the same folder structure. You don't have to go down this far if you don't want to. You can just stay right in that graphics folder. So we'll say sketchbook ideas here, and then here is where we're going to put our pictures that I just showed you. So I'm going to go ahead and grab these pictures, and I'm going to cut them and bring them all the way back in here and paste them right in there. So there it is. Next thing we want to do is we want to make sure that our game knows that this folder exists. So we're going to go ahead and open up our resources folder here. This is pretty much what it looks like here. And just like we've done with other things in the past, we're just going to go ahead and copy a line here and paste it down here. But then we'll go ahead and rename this to the name of our folder here. So it's going to be graphics. And make sure this is set to true, because this will search any subfolders inside of this folder for any additional files that it might need. So with that, save that up, and you can go ahead and close that. And with that, we're pretty much set to start working on the player ideas .cfg file. So if you do plan on wanting to use any of these here, do not remove them, leave them in here. I don't want to use any of the original sketches from the original like game. So I'm pretty much going to clear everything in here. And just leave one section for my stuff here. So first thing I'm do is, because I'm going to clear everything, I'm going to set this to be page count 1. I'm only going to have one page right now. Of course, if you end up having multiple levels, you probably want multiple pages, just like this. You know, caves, page 1, courtyard, page 2. So you could pretty much follow the same format here if you have multiple levels with multiple objectives. Right now, I'm only going to do one page because I only have one level right now. I do have a second level, but nothing to do in the second level just yet. So I'm going to go ahead and clear out all of this. And then we will just leave the one at the top here, the intro here, and then we're gonna go ahead and rename intro, and this could really be whatever you want, but I'm gonna call it starting room to match the name of my map, just like they match their name of their map. And then we're gonna go ahead and edit these lines here. So I'm actually just gonna keep this line here just for simplicity here, but you can obviously type out the whole thing if you want. and I'm gonna clear out this. This is like that was a comment. We're gonna clear it out because it's not relevant to us here. And now we're gonna go ahead and give our entry a name here. So what I'm gonna do is, since we did for the puzzles a hammer, for a hammer, we're gonna do a sketch for the hammer. So we're gonna say find underscore hammer, and then for this one down here, we're gonna say the same thing, find hammer, and we'll stick with the same syntax that they use in their story, which is putting complete at the end of it. So we're gonna say complete, and of course we want to change these names here. So we want it to be find hammer.png. That was the name of our images. Let me just double check, make sure that's what I called it. Yep, find hammer, and then find hammer complete. So find hammer and then find hammer complete is what we want here. So let's go ahead and clear that. All right, find hammer complete. Okay, and now we'll skip these for a second here. I just want to talk about this last one here. So has text. You know, when I pressed E to toggle like the text, we could see like the text that it shows. This has to be set to true or false. If you set it to true, then it'll have text. If not, it won't have text. So you notice how when we tested it with the in-games version, with the in-games already built-in sketches, you saw that some of them had text and some didn't. Well, this is how you can turn that on and off. Now about these sizes here. So the first two here control where it appears on the screen when you open up the reminders tab, and then this one controls the size. These two control the size of the image. These values are a little funky. I tried playing with them to see if I could kind of get what exactly like the scaling is or anything like that. Honestly, I couldn't figure out what specific scaling it is. I kind of just played around with it to get it to be where I liked it, and I think that's what you guys should do for now, unless I find a better way to unless I find a documented way of how this works here. The numbers they provide here are very specific, so they definitely had some kind of a system for figuring out these. They do say like a size X and size Y, but when you actually play around with these, it doesn't actually stretch your image. All it does is kind of it keeps it proportional and scales it proportionally. So it doesn't like stretch out your image or anything like that, no matter how much you increase the X or the Y. It doesn't like stretch it. So it's a little weird. I don't know why it does it like that. And then if you change this, the positioning that you put here also kind of changes as well. So again, I kind of just encourage you guys to play around with this here. I would set this to like 0.5. So that these pretty much go from 0 to 1. And you pick a number between them. I believe 0 is the left side of the screen and 1 is the right side of the screen. But of course, like I said, this kind of changes when you start messing around with the size of the image here. So then you kind of have to play around with it. So what I would do to start when you have your own image, I would recommend setting these to like 0.5 and then set this to 0.5 so that it's kind of centered on the screen. But then when you start playing with these two values here, it's going to get off-centered. But it lets you start kind of adjusting these values to get them to fit properly. What we're gonna do here, I already have like a set value that I already know works with my image, so I'm just gonna go ahead and put those in here. But again, I would play around with yours. I know it's a little weird, but if you play around with it for like 5 to 10 minutes, you'll kind of figure out what works and what doesn't. So I encourage you guys just to play around with it. And then we're gonna set this one to 0.15. And then we will set the X and the Y to 0.2. So I'll set these to 0.2. And we pretty much want the same things for the bottom ones here. All right, so those are done. They're pretty much both identical because again, they are the same image. This one is just has a check mark and the other one doesn't, but they're the same resolution and everything, so it should be fine. With that, we'll go ahead and save this. Now, one last thing we have to do before we can actually set up the script that we want to use is we're gonna have to put an entry in our English.lang file for our text that appears here when we set this to true. So this is actually pretty straightforward. Just locate your English.lang file. So it should be under config lang English.lang. So let's go ahead and open it. And underneath the inventory, I have one for inventory here. Really doesn't matter where you put it, but I'm going to put it underneath inventory here. And I'm going to go ahead and copy paste it. And I will try to put all this XML stuff and the command and everything in a Pastebin for you guys to copy and paste. So you guys can just check that when you need the XML stuff. So there's our ideas. So category name ideas. So this needs to stay ideas. That's how it identifies it in the game. Then the entry name, it has to match the same thing in your player ideas. This right here. And then for the entry right here, you can put whatever you want to actually appear. So we're just gonna say hammer, and then we're gonna hit save here. And then with that, we're pretty much set to test it out in our game. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna run the script for it. So it's gonna be sketchbook add idea, and then it's gonna be the name of that sketch sketch in our player ideas.cfg. So that was find hammer. Find hammer. Looks like it's lagging a little bit here, or didn't type it all the way. Find hammer, and then you do have an optional option here. If you wanted to notify the player, you can put true here. If you don't want it to notify the player, you can put false here. By default, this is set to true to notify the player, and it'll show the little icon at the bottom right that I showed you guys when we started up the game the first time. But we're not going to put it, since we do want it to notify the player, and it will default to true. So no need to put an extra line there. And with that, we can pretty much start up our game and check it out. All right, so here we are back in our custom story. I'm going to go ahead and step through our trigger area right here. And as you can see, added idea, find hammer. We got the icon and everything. If we go to reminders, there is our custom sketchbook hammer. And if we go ahead and hit E, we can see our hammer says hammer right there. And it looks like everything is working properly. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back into our script file, and I'm going to change it from find hammer to find hammer complete. And then I'm going to relaunch the game. So I'm going to skip showing you guys just me changing one word, and we're just going to come right back into the game and check it out. Alright, so I reloaded the game. I put in find hammer complete. So we're going to go ahead and step through this barrier here. And now it says added idea, find hammer complete. We go here, there's our hammer with our check mark and everything. And we actually didn't put an entry in our lang file for the find hammer complete. So you probably should put an entry there as well if you wanted to show the same thing. Or if you don't want it to show anything, just turn off has text, and it'll be pretty self-explanatory. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That does it for the episode, guys. I know my voice wasn't the best today. Again, I haven't been feeling too well recently. But hopefully I can keep up with the uploads in a couple of weeks. For now, the uploads are probably going to be kind of slim here and there whenever I get the chance. It's kind of hard for me to do these recordings when I'm not the very best. So with that, guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here. Don't forget to join the Discord. We got a lot of cool stuff happening there. A lot of people showing off their projects. I would love to have more of you guys come in there and give your opinion on some of the other people's works and ask more questions and stuff. So I love answering all of your questions and stuff. So with that, guys, I hope you guys have a good day. Don't forget to subscribe. If you're not already subscribed, leave a like on the video if you haven't done so already. And again, leave a comment saying what you want to see in future episodes. We got a lot to get through still. Have a good one, guys. Bye.